Okay.
Hey, hang on, TJ. Stand by. I got to put the audio
All
in the
right.
right spot. Hold on. It is for the iPad. All right. Say something, TJ.
Hello.
Oh, yeah, we can hear
Hello,
you.
everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes. There may be a bit of a delay, but we can hear you.
Okay, great. How's everybody doing this evening?
Amazing.
Great, great, great. It's
Yes,
welcome to be.
for sure.
I'm excited to be here with you ladies, and if there are gentlemen, I'm not sure, but I can't really see. So
Yes.
yeah, so there's a little bit delay, so there's a little echo in my ear, and I have my headphones on so I can hear a little better. What we're going to talk about is social media and getting comfortable with social media. So I know that there are a lot of people that really don't care for social media, but as business owners, I feel like it's a necessity. So I always see that people want to, talk about the bad side of social media, and I always try to talk about the good side. So we're going to talk about the good side. And before I start, is there any questions, like specific questions? Because I always like to answer questions.
Regarding social media,
Yes, and your business.
I have a question for you. I
Okay.
found over the years, at first it was YouTube, then from YouTube, Facebook, from Facebook, Instagram, now TikTok. With so many different platforms, and I know it's about understanding your target audience, once you discover where they hang out when they're, the time of day as such, would you suggest maybe a certain number of platforms? Because what I find, it's really interesting on my TikTok when I look at the analytics, a lot of the engagement is at 1 p.m. But then on other
Okay.
platforms is later in the day. So would
Mm-hmm.
you say use the most, I think TikTok and Instagram Reels right now are the most current regarding where the most people are at. So
Right.
what are your tips on choosing the particular platform and how many platforms should be utilized?
Great questions. I'm good. See, I love answering questions. So this is the thing. There's so many platforms, so much confusion about time of day, when to post, where do I go, do I have to be on everything? And I always say, no, you don't. The one thing you do know, and you mentioned, was target audience. So you do need to know everything about them as far as age range. And that's very important with social media because you mentioned TikTok. So guess who's on TikTok? That would be Gen Z. But if your
Right.
audience skews older, they're on Facebook, 55 and up. They're probably on Facebook. A little bit might be on Instagram, but there is not a crossover that much between that older generation and going to Instagram. So you really have to know the age range. I would say that's the most important thing versus time of day. And I'm going to explain to you a little bit why. But also, I want you to think about, you don't have to be everywhere because there's a new app called Threads, right? You've heard of it? The new app?
No.
No? Okay, so there's a new app from Instagram that's connected to Instagram that's supposed to be Twitter like, but it's really not. It's more text based. You can do images. So there's been a lot of talk about, and when I say they and people, I mean business owners. I really don't pay attention to what influencers do because they are on a different track. So people feel like they have to be on Threads when you really don't have to be on Threads. So see, there's new apps coming all the time, and people feel like, okay, I have FOMO, fear of missing out, so I need to be everywhere. But as business owners, you cannot spread yourself too thin. So that's why I say it's
Right.
always important to know who is your most important customer, like the age range. And depending on that number, that information, you'll know where to spend most of your time because those are your customers. You don't want to spend time on a platform because it's popular with the kids or whatever. Is your customer there? And I mean customer is,
Yeah.
our sales happening? Is there sales going on? So I feel like that's the most important thing. So did that answer your question? Because I can go deeper into it if you like.
It did. Thank you. So here's another question I have for you. Sometimes my customer is not the end user. I work with a lot of corporations, and unless the person's marketing or something such in that role, they're not hanging out on social media. So when you're working in a B2B, I know that a social presence is still necessary, but if they're not on these platforms, why am I spending the time and the resources to post content that they may never see from a business to business standpoint?
Great. I'm loving your questions. Great questions. You're right about B2B, but here's the thing. It doesn't matter if it's B2B or B2C. It's content that you're making, because the B2B audience is still a person. Even though it's a business or an industry, it's still a person behind those accounts, like a real person who, may think a certain way, act a certain way, want to be certain places. So you make content for B2B, you're still thinking of talking to a person instead of talking to a company. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because there's a disconnect for me. I am really great at creating content. I've written 13 books, but when I think about, I just did a contract with Desert Oasis Healthcare. I did business and closed a business with the project manager, right? So, but the end users were their female workforce, because it's a corporate wellness program that I created.
Right.
So when I'm speaking to them, there's a disconnect from the business to or the end user. That's the word I'm going to use.
Right.
So I feel like I'm speaking to two different people, because one of them has a different need than the ones actually going through the program.
Right.
So how do you create content to meet the needs of both people?
So what I'm understanding is, let me clarify this, is that you have to talk to two different audiences, or are you dealing with the B2B side of it, and the B2B company or whatever is talking to the end user? Which one is it?
That's a good question. So I'll give you an example. I have a corporate wellness program called Healthy Balanced You, and it's for burnt out executive, women only. When I sell the program, I have tons of conversations with the leaders, right? So there's content that I've developed for them. For instance, saving on healthcare, right? Increasing their productivity, lowering their absenteeism or presenteeism. So the language that I have to use with them is different than when the women get into the group,
right,
and we're talking about triggers of stress or boundary setting. It's a different conversation. So I do have to have for both parties.
Right. So now that clarifies it for me. So I'm going to tell you, unfortunately, you got a lot of work to do, because you've got to sell it on the B2B corporate side, and it also has to be sold. Once it's sold to that corporate B2B side, it has to sold to the women.
Yes.
So you've got to make two kinds of content. But here's the good news. You should focus on the end user, the women, because they're the ones that you have to satisfy. You know what I mean? Where they're happy with the services, and then they word of mouth that to the company.
I like that.
Do you understand?
I like that. Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
And that's very interesting, because after, when we do program evaluation, that's all the company wants to know. Did the women that went through it benefit from it, and do we have measurable results? So they are the only ones they really care about at the end.
Right. So like that's your job is you're going to focus more on content that's going to connect with the women. And also the secondary part of that is content that makes the company or the B2B part of it happy, and they're happy if their employees are happy. So you have to, you got a two-prong. That's why I said your job is kind of difficult, because you've got to make content on two different levels. But
yes, ma'am,
it's easier when you're focused on the end user, because you can kind of put yourself in their place. And it sounds like you can do that. So all you have to do is just whatever works with them, and you know how to find out what works with them. You look at the analytics. So whatever works with them, you keep hitting that, but change it up. Don't make it the same. So because you don't want them to be disengaged or, not engage or not be happy with it, because they're going to take those feelings and say, oh, well, the program isn't that great. It's not, it's not satisfying what I need.
Exactly.
It's not fixing my problems. So you want to always think about educating the end user, but you want to make it to where
Yes, ma'am.
it is entertaining and not I'm thinking drudgery or school like, or it has to be something that they
Yeah.
get involved with and they're happy. So when they're happy, they will talk about it. They will tell their, supervisors, boys, whoever, that this is the greatest program. It's helping me with so much clarity. It's helping me figure out my life. It's giving, I have less stress. I feel better. So they want to hear that. The company wants to hear that. So you've got two things. That's why I said your job is hard, because you got to make content on two levels, but focus more on the women, like the content. And, being women, we kind of know what they would want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
So you're
And the
good.
surveys are really good too, because it gave me more insight on what they wanted more of. And I believe based on that, that's also room to develop content that's relevant to those needs.
Yes, that's the key.
Yeah.
And in this situation, B2B, B2C, business owners, whoever, whatever you're trying to do, you always want to connect with your audience. That's number one. You don't want to connect with everybody. Everybody's not your customer. You're targeting a certain group of people, and people think because, well, I'm targeting a small group, that's bad or that's not good. I should be talking to millions of people, but no. You want to have it to where you are niche. You know that word niche? It's really great because you're talking to people who want to hear what you have to say. So they're going to engage more. They're going to be invested. They're going to do word of mouth. They're going to talk about you everywhere. And at the end of the line, they're going to buy your products or your services. It doesn't matter if it's products or services. That's what you need to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
We have another question from Cassie. Camille. Okay, I got the C part right. Camille, speak up loud. Stand up, Camille, and
okay,
talk
I can't
loud.
hear. I can't.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things that always comes up in the mortgage business is that people do business with people that they like. So there's a question on your social media. It's not called social for no reason. It's about being human,
Right.
showing your personality, making that connection as well as your business content. So my social media coach suggests a ratio. I think it's 8-1 business post. I mean, personal posts versus business. And I'm not talking tacky, inappropriate posts, but things like, here I am at this great restaurant, isn't this awesome? Or I went to this event, loving it. Here I am on vacation at my beach house, or whatever. Something that makes you connect with people on a different level. So I'm curious what your take on that. How much of yourself, posts that aren't even about your business, we should mix
Okay,
in.
so let me clarify. You said you're in the mortgage business, because I couldn't hear that beginning.
Yes.
Okay,
That
so
is
in the
correct.
mortgage business, and then there's some kind of rule about 8-1. You said like 8 posts about
It's
business
suggested,
to one.
I think it's 8 or 6-1 posts that you should spend more of your effort in my business on
And that
doing yourself.
right.
opposed to
Okay.
doing, let me tell you about how to get the no interest, program or whatever it is.
Right.
Instead of getting into the business details like everybody else, coming out with something, here's a poem I wrote this morning that I thought I'd read for everybody.
Okay,
Or,
I got
check out my photograph.
Okay, I got you. Now, but where did that rule come from? Is that somebody in your company telling you to do that, or is that something you read?
My social media coach. That's the ratio
Suggestion. Suggestion
Oh, a
from social
suggestion.
media. or
So
her
let me
social-
ask you this: are you comfortable with that? Is it working? That's 8-1 rule.
I'm very comfortable with it, and it works for me. The problem in my business, you have everybody talking about the same issues, and some of them go on, they do 30-minute posts all about this or that, and it can get a bit boring.
Right.
If you've seen 10 posts a day and they're all covering the same issue.
Yes.
And it doesn't distinguish you. Why should I call her when, they're just all the same?
I
So
understand.
you want to stick out. Like I said, in a good way, not in a way that makes people think, okay, she's a trash.
Right. No,
We're
no,
not
no.
going there.
I understand exactly. I had a client like that, that she was a dentist, and there was some program that she bought, and it was I call it cookie cutter content, which does not work. It does not work. So that's why I asked you, is it something that you have to do? I would suggest you go off script, do the content that makes you feel comfortable talking and connecting with this group, and then you check it. Is it working by looking at your analytics? So you know what I mean by analytics. You go into Facebook and they tell you, okay, this video got so many views, this post got so many likes, this post got so many comments. Same thing with Instagram. So you know what I mean by analytics.
I do. And
Okay.
you have to set your account up as a creator account in order to get them.
You have to set yourself as a what?
She
You
said
need your account to be a creator account in order to have access.
Okay. So you
You're
have a
just-
person. So you're saying so are we talking Instagram? We're talking Instagram?
Definitely Instagram.
Okay.
I think also.
So
TikTok.
Instagram, you have a personal account.
Do you have a personal account? Camille?
Not on Instagram and TikTok. I only use them for business.
Okay, so what is your account on Instagram now? Is that creator or business?
It's a creator account.
Okay.
Okay, so you might want to switch it to business, or it's called professional, and you get something called a professional dashboard that lets you know when your people engage the most with your posts. So you might want to switch from creator. I don't. Yeah, you need to switch it to professional. It's really easy to do. It's a setting. I don't know it offhand, but it's way deep inside of Instagram. But if you go to settings, there's and actually if you reach out to me, I can give you the steps if you need help with it. And Terry Johnson online everywhere. So but you need to have analytics, because that's the only way you know that your post is working. And what you said about everybody sounding the same, because that's cookie cutter. So you want to do content that you think is going to resonate with this audience. And how do you know what resonates with this audience? Because you're going online and you're searching around and looking. And this is real easy. You can go into Facebook groups. You can do a search on Instagram for a hashtag to see, well, what is my target market talking about? And you go into that and do some research and just see what they're saying. You don't have to spend a lot of time on it. I always say business owners spend 15 minutes during the day, in the middle of the day, or at night, or if you have more than 15 minutes, and just search around, listen to conversations, but listen to conversations around your audience, not what the entertainment stuff or the popular. If you do that, you're going to get sucked in. I always have a problem with Facebook. I hate going to it because I always get sucked into the happy birthday post and the this post and that. I'm like, well, I'm here for business. So for Facebook, I use the business creator suite, business.facebook.com. It goes to my pages. I don't get to see all of the stuff that's happening on Facebook because you'll get sucked in. That's the way these social media apps are designed to keep you on, by giving you stuff that makes you happy or distracts you. But as business owners, you don't want the distraction of the TikTok videos or the Facebook, somebody had a birthday or a baby or a wedding. You get sucked in there and time slips away. And as business owners, you cannot afford for your time to slip away on social media. So that's why I always talk about, you have to get comfortable with it, and you have to have a plan as to how am I going to use social media every day for me as a business owner or in business. So you got to do those certain things, like download the business, the Meta, I think it's called Meta Business Suite. And I use those apps on my phone. Or if you're going to desktop, go to business.facebook.com. Don't go to facebook.com, because that's where all the stuff is happening. And then you get distracted. So you're going there for a purpose to, well, let me see how my posts are doing today. Do I need to make more of video? Do I need to make more reels? Do I need to make more text posts, photos, whatever? Your analytics will tell you that. So that's your guide. Now, this cookie cutter content, we don't want to do that. So that's why I was asking, was it a rule that you had to follow? Because you don't. You really don't. You can talk about what's that?
Coach, but it's from the personal side, and they absolutely are against everybody doing cookie cutter. They don't like that.
It was a suggestion from a coach. I'm just
okay. Because see, I never like to do rules of you must post at 10 a.m. on Instagram. I don't do that. I always look at my analytics and they tell me what to do. So when I heard you say 8 to 1, I was like, well, where'd that ratio come from? Because you can talk personal and business in the same post. What you have to remember is don't overshare. You can share just enough of your life to where it's not oversharing. You know what I mean? And you still are real and relatable, and there's authenticity in your content. And there's no, well, I have to do 5 of this and 2 of that and 1 of this. And I never go by that. I always go by what is my audience resonating with. Look at the analytics, try something new. If it doesn't work, that tells me, hey, they don't like when I do this certain type of post. So let me try a reel, and let me try a different type of reel, because there's different ways to do short form video. So you have to practice and put it in out there to where, okay, let me try specifically for my audience. That's why I never like to listen to cookie cutter rules. Because if you go to Google and you search for, how do I grow my Instagram? There's a bunch of cookie cutter stuff and it doesn't work. So you have to figure out what works for you and your specific audience and then do more of that. And how do you know? Analytics will tell you what to do. So did that help?
Cassie? Camille, why do I want to call you Cassie? Camille.
That's fine, I'm not offended. But yeah, I'm on the same page with you. I'm against cookie cutter. The point of the advice was just to don't constantly post only the work stuff that you think you have to post.
Right.
To put some of yourself there so people can want to work with you.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely, I'm with you. The oversharing, naked pictures, getting dressed in there. Probably not appropriate for I don't judge. Whatever's legal, you can do it, but not for my business.
So this is what you can do. You can do, and it's called educational content. What you're saying about educating the customer, getting them into, I call the customer journey to where they buy. Yes, you want to do that, but you also can do it where you're authentically you. The way that you say things, and it doesn't have to be cookie cutter. And then don't be afraid of it's not working, because if it doesn't work, guess what? You can hit it again. You can come back. And this somebody I follow on Instagram. This is a really good example that they are already putting out posts different times of the day, and it's different types. It could be business stuff. It could be personal. Like this person I'm talking about, they're starting to learn photography. So they incorporate what their photography lessons are. They incorporate that into their social media on Instagram, but they make it entertaining. You see? And then they also you always want to put in a call to action that sounds real. Call to action means you want them to do something like sign up for the email list, go to your website, whatever that action is that you want. But there's a way to do it to where it's not cookie cutter, it's not robotic, it's real, authentically you. Okay? Did you lose me? I can't hear anything.
Okay, we're back.
Okay.
We're buffering on our end.
Oh, okay. Did you? Oh, that's
feedback. So you were saying the last part. We were hearing you, but we couldn't see you because there's something reset in here. So
okay, as long as you can hear me. So I just want to clarify that there's a way to do this, but you have to know yourself authentically and how you want to communicate online, whether it's written word, audio, or video. So if you don't like being on video, don't do reels. Don't do reels. But if you're a good writer, write all your content because you're a great writer. People will connect with that because they appreciate the style that you write and they're consuming it. How do you know? Analytics. You could do a podcast if you're, good at, you have a radio voice, or you find that, that format more comforting. You could focus more on that and then do a little bit of writing and then do a little bit of reels where you're not in the video, or YouTube shorts where you're not in the video. Because there's video you can do where you're not in the video, like your face is not in the video, or your face is small, like in the little corner, and you're talking about an article or a piece of information that you want to get across. So there's ways to do it where it's not 8 and 1. That to me, that's very formula. And I never like to do that. I always like to go free form with the flow, because you will make content. It will reach somebody when it needs to reach them. And sometimes you won't know that it reached them because, there's something called a silent consumer, which is a heads up. This is what we're going to talk about tomorrow, Fran. The silent consumer. So your content, what that is that your content could be working and you don't know that it's working. But how do you know it's working? Because you'll see sales, or you'll see, whatever your end goal is. If it's sales, you'll see the sales and you'll go, where did that come from? Or you'll have your email list. You want people to get on an email list. You see your email list grow, but you don't see any comments or likes or shares or whatever the thing that they're selling on, that you should be looking for on social media. You should always look at your end goal of, do I want sales? Do I want to sign up for my email list? Which is what you want to do. You want people on your email list just in case social media goes down. That's your that's your backup form of communication. Don't listen to the things where people say email is dead. It's not at all. Not even with the younger crowd. It's not. So those are some of the things you want to do. You want to figure out, what is my end goal? What is the end result I want? As business owners, we want revenue, we want sales, and we want them on our list. You always want to get an opportunity to get people on your list, because that's another way where you can talk to them. And if they're on your list, you could possibly get them on your SMS list where you have their phone number and you get to send them messages. That's really an intimate connection between you and them. So, but you can't just get their phone number out of the box. You got to build up the relationship, and I call that the customer journey, the customer relationship journey. But there's a lot of stops on the way. One of them is being authentically you and knowing, well, I don't like making reels or video or shorts or TikTok. So you don't have to do that. So you do what you need to do where your voice comes across and it connects with your audience. I hope you understand it, because I'm just, rambling.
Okay, we have a question from Jetta.
Okay.
Hi. I'm wondering, do you suggest paying to boost your ads?
Do you suggest paying to boost your ads?
So we're talking Facebook when they ask you to boost a post because it's doing so well. Is that what this is?
Or yes, Facebook or Instagram.
Okay.
Facebook or Instagram.
Here's the thing. You don't want to boost a post because you don't get enough juice for your money. And let me explain that. Because there's an ad platform that Meta has, that when you go in to create an ad, and I know it looks confusing, but they changed the process to where I think there's a wizard that helps you decide where, what to do, what to put in. So you get more juice out of the orange when you run an ad versus boosting. You get to set more parameters when you do an ad. You get to place it. It's called ad placement. You get to place it to where you want. And once you if you haven't run an ad, once you get into it, there's different places to put your ad. There's stories. There's different ways. And they will help you do that. The process used to be hard to run an ad. So when you see that little button and they say, oh, your ad is performing so well, you should boost it. No, you should go in and say, hey, that ad, that post is doing well. Let me turn it into an ad, because it's already created. It's organic content that has worked and reached an audience and done the job that you needed to do. So all you got to do now is put some money behind it, and you don't have to spend a lot of money. But the thing, and I'll give you this key when you're running ads. Once an ad is out of it has to go through a learning phase, because Facebook Meta has to determine what audience likes it. So there's a learning phase. I'm not sure the time length, maybe a couple days or something. But once it's out of the learning phase, they really show it to everybody. Don't change your ad, because you'll want to go in and say, oh, I put $20 on it and it's running so well. Let me boost it up to 50 or 100. When you do that, you effectively stop the ad. And it's like you're starting over from scratch. So you never want to do that. That's just one tip. But I would not boost an ad. I would go in to Ad Manager and go in and just use that post that's working organically, because you know it's working, because you see it's working. Facebook told you, oh, this is your top performing post. All right, let me go and run an ad. And then you determine like the grouping, like the age, the area, geolocation, all of that stuff is in there. I know it sounds like some hard thing, but they really changed the tool, and is Meta. Meta has really changed the tools to where they help you along that path of getting from the post to an ad that works. Okay, so does that answer your question? I hope that helps.
Yes. Anybody, any other question? Anybody else?
I just wanted to clarify. So you said, so instead of like adding more money to the ad, you said that that essentially will stop it.
Yes.
We should wait till that balance runs
Yes.
out.
Yes. Until
and
it
then maybe possibly
until it runs out. If you go in and you see an ad that's working well, and the cost per click and everything is it's not, it's pennies or whatever, and you go in and you say, well, I'm gonna throw some money on it. Anytime you touch an ad that's out of the learning phase, you're effectively starting from zero again. So Facebook will stop it and say, oh, you made a change, back to the starting point of zero, learning phase. And then the people that you reached before when the ad was running well, you're not going to get that anymore.
What about Instagram? Does Instagram have the ad too, or is it just the boost?
Instagram and Facebook and Instagram ads are connected through Meta. Once you go in, you have to go in. You can run an ad through Instagram, but I suggest running through Facebook, because there'll be more things to choose and more information. You could run an ad through Instagram, because they will tell you in Instagram, oh, this post is doing well, you should run an ad. Again, nope. Let me go over to Facebook Meta platform, go to the Ad Manager, and go set it up through there. Once you set it up, don't touch it until it's it's finished, because if you set it by time or money, it will run out. And then you can say, and here's another thing, people will say, well, it did so well, let me just start it again. But it's not going to be the same. It's like having a set of data that runs a certain time, and then it's like a horse that runs a race. Once the race is over, you can't go back and run it again. Does that make sense?
Okay, so there was some point that I wanted to clarify. Oh, so you can do Instagram ads within the Meta Business Suite too, as well,
yes,
right?
Yes, everything's run through the Meta side. You can run an ad on Instagram once you're in there, because there are little things that will tell you, oh, you should make this an ad, you should do that. But you should always go to the Meta platform, the Ad Manager, and go from there, because they have a wizard. They have a little step-by-step thing that helps you. So I wouldn't do it from Instagram unless you have that experience. If you're experienced at running ads, then yeah, go run it from Instagram. But if you're new to this, you always want to go and try to get a little bit of knowledge first before you do the ads, because Meta has a business platform where they have a whole certificate thing, a whole program that teaches you about running ads. So I would run that first, and it's free. And I believe it's on Meta Business. I think it's Meta Business website. They've got all kind of little courses and things to help you. Okay?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
As far as like ad budget and performance, would you suggest, oh, this is hot. I know you can do split A/B testing.
Yeah.
So say for instance, it's one product or one service, and you don't want to spend too many ad dollars because obviously you don't have any data to determine the
Right. for the
results
data
of the
set.
ad.
Mhm, mhm.
However, you kind of want to see, I do a lot of playing around with ads in Canva.
Right.
And I know that it could be the same program, but certain people, your audience is going to be attracted to certain things.
Right.
So when you're just starting to spend money, would you suggest maybe a small budget, but do kind of a split A/B testing to
Yes.
see? Because if I know something works versus something that doesn't, but it's for the same program,
Mhm.
I'd rather do the thing that's working, right? So
Are
would
you talking-
suggest a
Are you talking about copying ads? Again, that you because you'll see an ad set that works and you copy it because you could duplicate it.
Yes.
Again, it's still like a new ad. Facebook considers anything where you're changing it a new ad. So you'll be starting fresh because you'll think, oh, I'll just duplicate this ad set and it'll work as the old one. Well, it won't
That's-
because the timing is different because remember the audience is people. So things change with people.
Yes.
So that's why an ad that works and great, it may not work as well when you duplicate it, but you can. It's a good jumping off point. It's a good jumping point, and you also have to know when to stop it and say, okay, well this is just too much. This is too expensive. Let me stop it, and it's okay to stop it and then go and then look at it and say, well, what didn't work because this is costing me too much. So you can stop
Right.
it and then say it could be the photo, it could be the content, it could be the text. So yeah, you want to do A/B testing. And this is where, ChatGPT, I know everybody's afraid of AI, but ChatGPT and some other AI tools are great at helping you with this. Like you would just, you can give it a prompt to say, I want to create an ad based on this and give me two, I want to split test it. And they'll say, okay, and they'll give you two versions. Okay. So you might want to do that.
Does ChatGPT have any data though? I mean, it's
Does it
giving
have
you-
what?
I think the problem that I have with that, it has no historical data. So how is it going to tell me?
Well, this is
what
not.
is it grabbing from?
Well, no, not chat. It's to write the text, the content.
Oh,
So
the
if-
text.
Yes,
Okay.
not yet for text, because you need when you're doing different
Okay, I
split
understand.
testing, you don't want to copy the text. You want to have text A written this way, text B written that
Exactly.
way, and I mean different styles. You
Yeah.
can have one what you can say, ChatGPT, write this in a professional tone, write A in a professional tone,
Exactly.
and write B in a conversational, informal tone, and it will do it for you. So that's stuff that you don't have to worry about. And then you can just plug it in to the ad set and say, okay, which one is working? And you just kind of look at it and go, okay, the professional works better over the conversational or whatever there's different conversation styles like witty, funny, sarcastic. You could do all of that in ChatGPT because that could be the difference when you're doing an ad. That could be the difference because remember, the ad is reaching out to people. So it depends on what
Yeah.
kind of mood they're in or if they're in, it depends on a lot of factors. So Facebook takes all of that in consideration. That's why when you duplicate an ad set, it never works the same. It never works the same.
So question.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about using that tool, I kind of go to grad school, right? If I were to put anyone else's text in my work and not credit them, there was plagiarism. So with AI and using something that's not that artificial intelligence came up with, as a business owner, where's the intersection of legalities? Because I didn't write this. So
Right.
my concern with using that, yes,
Mhm.
they're probably able to go in and pick out some really good wording based on the style, but where the
Mhm.
legality is at with that? It's not my text.
Well, see, this is the thing with AI and ChatGPT and all of these tools, especially with imagery, It's just getting started in the legal system and the justice system where, people are getting sued and lawsuits are happening. So we're at the beginning of that. So what you need to do, I'll say with text, is you train it on text that you've said or written. And it's really easy to get the script of a video or to say, to talk and then have that transcribed into text. And you put that in ChatGPT and you tell it to analyze the writing style. And it'll say, okay, this is informative. And then you say, okay, I want to write a post about houseplants. Write it in the style. And because you're having a conversation with it, a chain, it remembers. So you don't have to repeat. You can just say, write me a post about blank based on the above. And it will write it in that style based off of your text. That's how you do that. Okay. But still, we're getting into murky waters where we might have to. I heard something today about Instagram is going to start marking posts and comments that it was written by AI because they're going to filter it through some tool. But again, that's kind of iffy because there's some of these detection tools, AI detection tools, are not 100% correct. They're not. I read today that they ran some Shakespeare through the AI and they said it was plagiarized. So these tools are not 100% accurate, or you can't depend on them, but they are good. ChatGPT, especially for generating ideas for you, but you have to train it to take your information, your text, and write something, and then you rewrite it. Does that make sense? Can you hear me? I heard some echoes.
Yeah, we were having. Yeah,
okay.
We were having a little bit of. So that last part, say it again, please.
Okay, what did I say about the 100% accuracy?
The chat GPT, you're going to have to put it in your own words. Did I hear that?
Right. You never want to copy and paste from chat GPT. Never, never, never. It is I have an idea. I give it to chat GPT. It expands on it, writes some things that I didn't think about. And I said, oh, well, I like that phrase. Let me take that phrase and I can rewrite it in my style. But those are my words. But the idea came from ChatGPT. But they're my words. See? So it's really a tool that's going to help you. You heard of the thing called a blank page. Artists have this thing where they look at a blank page, or writers. I think somebody said they were a writer. When you're starting a new book, you're staring at the blank page and you don't know where to start, right? This is the same thing to ChatGPT. You go, I don't know. Let me throw a word or a phrase or an idea in, and it will spit things out. And you go, oh, I never thought of that. That's an idea. Let me run with it on my own as the human. And I go off and I write because I'm inspired by this point or this thing that I didn't think about. It's really complex.
So
we're starting. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Finish your thought.
We're really starting to get into the legalities of AI tools, text, and imagery. So I always tell people, if you have kids or something that's going to school, tell them to get into AI law, because that's going to be a big thing. It's going to be really huge. So they're starting to figure out copyright, who owns what, who did this, who did that. And going through the legal system, it's going to take a while before it gets solved. So we're at the beginning of it.
Okay. So I know we talk about it a lot on Tuesday. It's like doing that summer paper that you had to write in school, and you went to the Britannica. What is it?
The Encyclopedia
Britannica. And when you wrote your story about whatever it was, you put that in your own words.
Right.
You went to the encyclopedia for the reference, but you had to put it in your own words. It's the same thing with ChatGPT. You put it in your own words. After I used it for different things. It makes it so much easier. I know what I want. I know what I do. Terry said an ad to do XYZ. Help me, suggest a way for me to do that, or suggest content for a social media post talking about mortgage, whatever.
Right.
It will come up with some stuff. Now I need to turn that into my voice.
Right.
And say, okay, I want to talk about this. It may 10 ways for a homeowner to avoid the pitfalls of a faulty mortgage. It
Right.
will, you go in there and you know the material, what's true and what's not, and you would know what you would tell your clients.
Right.
And so that's what you write.
Right.
You don't copy and paste whatever just popped up on the screen.
Right. And here's
Okay,
a quick,
TJ, you can have the floor.
Here's a quick tip. If you have reviews on a website or wherever you have reviews on your business, you can take those reviews, put them in the ChatGPT, and it will write your about page. It will write things for you. But and it's based off of things people said about you. And they're all true. But it combines it in such a way that you go, oh, I didn't know it could be put together like that. I can take that as a starting point and then, okay, let me clean it this word. Let me change this word. I don't like the way that it said this phrase. You as the human will go and say, I don't like the way that's said because it doesn't flow right, or I wouldn't say that. So you go, well, this line, it's the editing process. I'm going to take that line out, and how would I say that line? And then I would put it in as I would say it. But it saves you a lot of time as far as creating content, getting, the blank page. I don't know what to write. I don't know what to do. And you can tell it. I don't know what, I am a mortgage broker. I don't know what to say to get the attention of my target audience. What do you suggest? And it spits off a bunch of things. And you go, okay, now I got a starting point where I can take this one or two things out of what it said and work with it on my own. And that way it cuts out the time of creating content.
Okay, Camille?
I just had a quick comment on that.
Mm-hmm.
You can use the ChatGPT to write an outline for you. I want to write something on whatever, outline it for me, and then write your own text. And you can also use it with a question like, what questions are people asking on Google about insert name of your business? And those can be your top or your 1 minute stories or reels that you're going to do.
And are you typing this in, or is voice recognition?
You put the question in and it'll spit out, if you ask it what are the questions, then you take those questions and you answer them.
Right.
You can also have it rewrite things as many times as you want. I personally agree that its writing is questionable and I don't trust it. But if it's just giving you ideas, I like that. What's the plagiarism there?
Right. You could go to ChatGPT or any of the tools. It doesn't have to be ChatGPT. Bing is pretty good. You could go in and ask it, what are the pain points of my audience? And you put the audience. Like, what is your audience? What are the pain points? What are their problems? And it will spit it out because it's going and it's called a learning language model. It's learning from, like Fran said, the encyclopedia. Like you learn from the encyclopedia with a set of data that already exists. So think of all the books, all the writings, all the content that's been online. They took this model, this code, and it learned off of that. So really what it's doing is it's completing a task. ChatGPT is not sentient where it doesn't think. It's just completing a task. And that's what computers do. They just give it a command and it figures out how to complete the command. So that's what it's really doing when it's writing all of these wonderful things. It knows patterns, pattern recognition, word recognition, pieces of the puzzle. So that's all a computer does. It's not sentient yet. So I know that was one of the things. And sentient means thinking, self-thought.
And TJ, I think you have a prompt. You got prompts that you put together?
Oh, yes. I have prompts inside of the Discord that I have. If you go to terryjohnsononline.com/info, You can get in the Discord there and there. I also have like a list of the best AI tools to use. Again, that's terryjohnsononline.com/info, and you'll see it there. I also have like I did an AI workshop a few months ago. That's available. So I have lots of things that I'm adding on to. So if you follow me, like I said, Terry Johnson Online, everywhere you want to be, just reach out, DM me, send me a message. I'm happy to answer questions. As you can see, I love answering questions. So I was like, okay, just give me some questions.
Miss Terry, is it 2 R's or is RRY or RRI?
TerryJohnson online online.com/info info.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
But if you find me, just wherever you want to go. Instagram, put in Terry Johnson Online, and you'll see me. And just send me a message. You could do that too. But it's Terry Johnson Online, TerryJohnsonOnline.com/info. And I'll be happy to answer questions. That's what I love doing. Any more questions? I know we talked about a lot.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to touch on the AI topic, but we did. So it's not anything to be afraid of. It's very early days, very early stages. The CEO of ChatGPT, he's working on another tool that's going to kind of put a good housekeeping seal on everything that's digitally done. So look for that. I'm not looking for that this year, maybe in a year or two, but there's going to be something to where everything that's created with AI is going to have some kind of stamp on it, and we'll know that it's AI versus real, because we're starting to get now into AI video that's being created that you can't tell if it's real or not. They had a photo of the Pope a few months ago, and no one could tell that it was AI. So we're getting into that where there's going to be something to say this is real and this is AI. So just keep hope alive that we get to that. Okay.
All right, TJ, thank you so much. Any
welcome.
Any final questions? Everybody good? Because we're gonna bring TJ back. There is so much. Now you know what? You can catch her tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on bizchicks.live, which is our YouTube channel. She will be there. She does her marketing information every Tuesday at 8 a.m. So you can just tune right in at bizchicks.live, which is our YouTube channel. And or if you are connected with terryjohnsononline.com, it'll be on her YouTube channel as well. So our Facebook as well. So
you're amazing, Miss Terry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ladies.
all right. So
Okay.
So we're watching, those of you who are watching live, Dr. Tachi was in the house this evening, and somebody else, I don't see two people. We want to say thank you. You could have been anywhere else this evening, but you came out here, and we want to say thank you. We will see you next Thursday with another one of our wonderful Biz Chicks. So thank you. And TJ, we will... see, now Laura keeps us on. September 4th, we will be back. That's the day after Labor Day. Oh, no, that is Labor Day.
Labor Day is on Monday.
Yes, but what day is that, Laura?
It is the 4th of Monday.
September the 4th. You know what she's talking about? Laura, keep us on point. All right, so we'll talk to you later. I'm going to run this brand, TJ. Look, I'm doing
All right.
kind of
Thank you,
stuff here.
ladies. Bye.
Thank you.